Hey, my little sinners and saints. I have way too much fun with this avatar. Today we're going to be looking at Michael Rockefeller. Ooh, that's where he started. Okay, here we go. Dun, dun, dun. And of course, it won't play. It's like we know you're recording. We're not going to play. Look at that. Fuck, Bill, I found a way around it. Okay, this is Mr. Rockefeller. Everybody should know that name. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. This is his family. Let's give a little background here. His name is Michael Clark Rockefeller. He was born May 18th, 1939. He was presumed to have died November 19th, 1961. He was a member of the Rockefeller family. He was the son of the New York governor and former U.S. Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, a grandson of American financier John D. Rockefeller Jr., and great grandson of Standard Oil co founder John D. Rockefeller Sr. Oh my God, what is with me saying that? Rockefeller disappeared during an expedition in the Asmat region of southwestern Netherlands, New Guinea, which is now part of Indonesia, province of South Papua. I don't know. Papua. In 2014, Carl Huffman published a book that went into great detail and about the inquest into the disappearance, and the villagers and the tribal elders admit to Rockefeller being killed after swimming to shore in 1961. No remains or physical proof of him dying has ever been discovered. We're not going to really talk about his early life because he's a Rockefeller. He's rich. Everybody should know who he is. This was him over there on this first, could say, visit. Um, and so he became friends with the tribal people of New Guinea. And I'm going to show you some pictures. This is him on a boat. This is him with his crew and some of the tribal people. This is him with the tribal kids and some of the adults. This right here is stones or wooden carvings that they do, and it's people on top of people. And they put this up for their elders that's passed away. And they take these carvings very seriously. Well, Michael wanted to buy one so that he could take it back to the US with him. And that pissed off the elders in the tribal community, obviously. And so this was him. I don't know if he was negotiating at this point, but he was trying to buy some of the wooden statues. And so they wouldn't obviously sell it because they believe that the spirit of their elders were in those wooden carvings. And so then he left, supposedly, and he went missing and they never found him. And 40 years later, this man is like, okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's talk a little bit though about the disappearance. On November 17, 1961, Rockefeller and Dutch anthropologist Rene Wassing was were in a 40-foot, 12 millimeter dugout canoe and 3 nautical miles, which is 6 kilometers, 3 miles, from shore when their double pontoon boat was swamped over and with water and overturned. There were two local guides who swam for help, but it was slow in coming. After drifting for a while, early on November 19, 1961, Rockefeller and Wassing stated, "I think I can make it." He then, or said to Wassing, I apologize, "I think I can make it." He swam for the shore. The boat was estimated to be about 14 miles away from shore when he made an attempt to swim to safety, supporting the theory that he died from exposure, exhaustion, and drowning. Wassing was rescued the next day, but Rockefeller was never seen again. And there was a lengthy search effort, of course. At this time, his disappearance was a major world news item. His body was never found, and he was declared legally dead in 1964. Let's talk about speculation, because then we'll get to this gentleman here. In the original reported, it was originally reported that Rockefeller either drowned or was attacked by a shark or saltwater crocodile. However, because headhunting and cannibalism was still present in some areas of Asmat in 1961, there was also the speculation that Rockefeller may have been killed and eaten by tribal people from the Asmat village of Otsjanep, Otsjanep, I don't know. You know me and words. In 1969, journalist Mitch Michelin, this man here, traveled to the island to investigate Rockefeller's disappearance. No, this ain't him. He was dismissed. He dismissed reporters of Rockefeller living as a captive or as a cute, slight figure in the jungle, being concluded that circumstantial evidence supported the idea that he had been killed. Okay, there was this gentleman that went over there, and they took all this footage. They was going to see, if they could find him, what was going on. And so they took all this footage, but then they went back to the US and just put it in like a room and never looked at it. Well, there was this gentleman, I don't want to get ahead of myself, that looked at the footage, and I'll leave it at that for now. Let me from my place. Several leaders of the village where Rockefeller likely would have arrived had he made it to shore had been killed by a Dutch patrol in 1958, thus providing some rationale for the revenge of the tribe against someone who was from a white tribe. Neither cannibalism nor headhunting in Asmat were indiscriminate, but rather were a part of eye for an eye revenge cycle. So it is possible that Rockefeller found himself in the victim of such cycle. Talking about the author, private investigator. Okay. This, I think, is Carl Hoffman. He wrote the book Savage Harvest, A Tale of Cannibals, Colonialism, and Michael Rockefeller's tragic quest for primitive art. Okay, this gentleman here took the footage out and he's like, let me look at it. So he goes through it and he sees a picture, or a frame actually. This is the boat that got waterlogged and messed up and everything. This picture here. Um, and this does look like Rockefeller. I mean, this could be him. But so he, thought, okay, this is Rockefeller. Now he figured it out. He's actually just said, screw all the money, everything. I'm going to live here. So he goes over there and does his own investigation. And he talks to the elders, and this is not an elder, but this is just a picture of one of the tribes people. But he talks to some of the elders and everything. And come to find out that they told him, said, we're going to tell you what really happened. But if you go back and you say anything about this, we're all going to die, and odds are you're going to die. Well, of course, this probably frightened him, and he thought, I don't care, I'm going back. So he went over there and run his mouth like he wasn't supposed to. But he did write a book, the one I just mentioned, um, and it tells what actually happened to Rockefeller, um, which he discusses researching Rockefeller's mysterious disappearance and presumed death. During multiple visits to the villages in the area, Hoffman had several stories about men from Otsgenap killing Rockefeller after he swam the shore. The stories were similar to the testimonies collected in the 1960s, center around a handful of men arguing and eventually deciding to kill Rockefeller. Later, he had swum the shore in revenge for a 1958 killing of fellow tribesmen by Dutch authorities. Soon after the murder, the villages was swept by a cholera epidemic, and the villagers believed that it was retribution for killing Rockefeller. As Hoffman left one of the villagers for the final time, he witnessed a man acting out a scene wherein he was um, someone was killed and stopped to videotape it. When translated, the man was quoted saying, "Don't you tell this story to any other man or any other village, because this is the story only for us. Don't speak, don't speak, and tell this story. I hope you remember it, and you must keep this for us. I hope, I hope. This is for you and only you. Don't talk to anyone forever, to other people or to another village. If you get questioned, you don't answer. Don't talk about them, because this story is only for you. If you tell them, you will die, and I'm afraid you will die. You'll be dead. Your people will be dead. And if you tell this story, you keep this story in your house to yourself. I hope forever, forever." Many of the asmat, asmat artifacts Rockefeller collected are part of the MC Rockefeller Wing collection in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. The Peabody Museum has established a catalog of exhibition of pictures taken by Rockefeller during their New Guinea expedition. Okay, the story that he told him was that once Rockefeller had tried to swim to shore, that there was 8 boats out there, and they were smoking their rolled up cigars. They were just relaxing everything after a hard day, and there was 8 boats out there. And so they seen this thing swimming towards them, back and forth and back and forth. I'm trying to do my little avatar like my hands doing. And they were like, "What is that? You see that?" And so it was swimming like a snake would swim in the water. Well, anyway, they thought we better attack it before it attacks us. So they start going towards it. And the closer that they get, they realize it's a man. And it was, excuse me, it was Rockefeller. So he puts his hand up on the boat. One of the tribesmen elders looks at 2 others, and they both nod. So they take Rockefeller and they pull him into the boat. And so they start swimming back towards shore. Now, on the way back towards shore, they start doing this chant. And Rockefeller eventually kind of gains his bearings, and he's like, "What are you saying? What are you chanting?" Nobody acknowledged him, and they just kept chanting and rowing towards this little inlet that was just open land. So they got there. Hold on, let me get my little pictures. This is one of the artifacts. But this is the kind of boats that Rockefeller would have seen and been put into. Um, so when they get there, they all get off the boats, and Rockefeller kind of looked up to kind of see where everybody would have went. And all of a sudden, one of the men come back, and Rockefeller asked him, hey, what's going on? And the man raises his sword and sticks it in his side. And Rockefeller curls up and puts that side to the bottom of the boat to protect it and fear and stuff. So he does, the elder does the spear to the other side. And then they come and they drag him off the boat. Then they take him and they put his head over like a piece of wood or something, face down. And they go to cut off the back of his head. They chop the back of his head. And then another one grabs the front of his head and cuts his throat until his head comes off. Long story short, they took all the organs out. They eat everything, especially the brain, and they disposed of every piece of him. And that's what happened to Michael Rockefeller. If he hadn't come back the second time or tried to swim towards that area, then he could have possibly lived. But since he went back, they were pissed off about the artifacts, so they got their revenge. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rebuttal, complain, and be sure to subscribe and share. Please like the video. That helps out with the little algorithm, and I'm surprised I didn't mess that word up. And subscribe, comment, anything that you want to do. But thank you for watching me, and as always, I will see you next time. Bye, 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 bye.